Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us on the news briefing for this Wednesday. We are going to start with an update on the Moss Landing incident. Many of you may have tuned into the Board of Supervisors meeting yesterday and gotten a monthly update from county staff, but we wanted to bring some additional information here for you today. First, we wanted to share some information from the US EPA, who is a regulator on this incident. They weren't able to be on the briefing today in person, but they did provide some information that I'm going to share with you. The EPA, along with state and county environmental health agency counterparts, continues to provide technical assistance and oversight of recovery and cleanup operations performed by the responsible party, Vistra. Battery delinking or disconnection for the currently accessible batteries began on February 22nd, 2025, and was completed on March 13th, 2025. This is the first phase of hazard mitigation to reduce risks of thermal runaway, reignition, and fire propagation. EPA oversight will continue throughout the phased cleanup work, and updates will be shared with the County of Monterey for posting on our Moss Landing Recovery Dashboard website. And we really appreciate them providing information for us today. We're now going to turn to our County of Monterey Environmental Health Director, Rick Encarnacion, who is very active in this incident, and he's going to give us an update on his work. Hi, Rick. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Maya. Good afternoon, everybody. Rick Encarnacion, Director of Environmental Health, County of Monterey. We'd just like to let everybody know the Environmental Health Bureau, your local health inspectors, the local health authority, continues to work with our local, state, and federal partners, as what Maya mentioned and read out from the EPA, US EPA. They're our partners, and we're all working together to ensure proper cleanup, as well as the follow-on actions from the responsible party, Vistra, with regards to this incident. I'd also like to update you on our community sampling plan that was mentioned at our meeting yesterday with the board. We're working on our community sampling plan. This was developed again with our state partners, Cal EPA, the Office of Environmental Health Hazard Assessment, and the Department of Toxic Substance Control, along with many others. And it's intended to help us complete a comprehensive human health risk assessment. This will include sampling in areas where DTSC said we need to look further, as well as where we have received some reports or complaints of ash and debris. This could include schools, parks, churches, and other places within the community, including residential areas. Another thing that I'd like to tell you about is we're developing a data dashboard, which uses GIS, Geographic Information System. So in order to keep up with providing information to the public and being transparent, we're putting up information on our web. We're going to add a GIS map. It's going to take some time to put that together. We're estimating maybe about 2 weeks to get all the information together and laid over a map. And so our folks here in environmental health and our IT people and Department of Emergency Management is all putting that together for you. So, and with that, if there's any other questions, I'll stand by.
Rick, thank you very much for that update. And could you remind us again about the estimated start time for that dashboard? Because I know there's been a lot of community interest in finding an easier way to see all this information.
Mm-hmm. Well, our people have been working on it for a couple of weeks now, and they're estimating maybe 1 or 2 weeks. They're going to beta test it, make sure there's no glitches, and putting all the information together so that it's interactive and easy to use. So I'd say about 1 or 2 weeks.
Thank you very much, Rick. And that is really great news. And I know the community is really looking forward to it. Now, for those who may have questions, you can go ahead and put them in chat. And Rick, I do have a question for you and hoping you might be able to answer this. DTSC has given the county a list of sites to look further into for sampling. Mm-hmm. Is that something that's part of this next wave?
Yes, exactly. So when the DTSC, after the incident, we fanned out and did some screening and sampling. That was back in January. And with those results from the screening, there were some recommendations on where to look further. And that's exactly what the community sampling plan includes.
Thank you for that. Any other questions for Rick? before we move on to our next topic? And if anyone has questions for US EPA, even though they weren't able to be here, you're welcome to forward questions to us, and then we will go ahead and forward that to them and try to get a response for you. I'm not seeing any additional questions. So Rick, thank you very much for being here, and we'll catch you next week.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
And now moving on to our next topic, you may have heard about a series of community forums focusing on making sure residents in our community know about resources and rights when it comes to immigration issues. The last forum is tonight in Seaside, and we want to talk about this series of forums because it's been a tremendous undertaking. And I'm going to call up our first district supervisor, Luis Alejo, who is joining me right here in our media room to talk about this. And then by Zoom, we have one of our media trusted colleagues, Adriana Frederick from KSMS and Univision, both of you are going to talk about this series, not only because it took so much to put it together, but Adriana, you were really instrumental in encouraging people to participate because you acted as an MC for the event. Supervisor Leo, I'm hoping you might talk first about what it took to put this series together.
Well, first of all, I think Monterey County is unique in that back in December, it formed an immigration rights ad hoc committee. The purpose was to bring stakeholders together because we learned during COVID that if we start having good communication when issues arise, we're able to better respond to it. And with that, from what we learned there, we knew that with whatever future immigration enforcement were to take place in Monterey County, it's better if we're talking to each other and we're collaborating. And that's exactly what came about. One of the main ideas that we wanted to do was to bring forward 4 immigration rights forums, one in each part of the regions in Monterey County, one in Salinas. Then we went to Greenfield in South County, then Pajaro, North County. And our last forum is tonight at Seaside High School. And it's been a great partnership. But we also know that we need trusted messengers. And I think there's no better person in the Spanish-speaking media world than Adriana Frederick. She's trusted. She delivers the news every single day to tens of thousands of Monterey County residents and beyond. And she has a special talent to facilitate questions, to engage the audience. And she started committee to 1, but she has been on the road with us, going to all 4 locations. So I'm glad Adriana is online today because I think this is an example where getting the right information, knowing your rights, and knowing where to go, where the resources are, it wouldn't be possible without our partners in the media. And this is one of those shining examples of being able to educate our residents on what to do, what are their rights, and where can they turn to for resources.
And Adriana, you are there at each and every one of these, and you also helped encourage people to attend. What did people talk to you about? Because people talk to you and they share their feelings and their concerns. What were you hearing from participants about this?
Well, thank you very much, first of all, for being invited to this briefing today. My experience as the MC of this forum has been very rewarding in many ways. First of all, people are eager to gather information from reliable sources because they hear so many things, but to get a place where they can get all their answers from reliable sources, that has been unique, and people trust that, and people are telling me, thank you for doing this, thank you for being here, and thank you for getting the information we need because they're on fear. In some other, there's some things that people are not attending to some events because of fear, but people are coming to our forums for that information. The message that we want to get out is to live their life as usual, to take the kids to school, to go to doctors, to have a normal life, because if they are not criminals, they're not going to be under the radar of immigration. So that's the message that we're trying to come across, to keep having a good life. They came to this country with opportunity, with dreams. We want them to fulfill their dreams and get the information, because information is power. And they are very glad that they're having immigration assistance one-on-one, and they also have information about how to make an emergency plan for their families, and it's for free. They don't have to pay hundreds of dollars from their pockets that probably they don't have. So it's been a blessing for the families, and that's what they've been telling.
And Supervisor, one of the key parts of this forum, these series of forums, is that each forum had additional resource fairs right there where people could come and ask experts about what to do.
Right. I think many of our community organizations, whether they provide direct immigration services or not, many who did not, they wanted to be out, reach out to the community at this time of need to let them know they're there for them. Sometimes it was health, it's mental health. It's other issues that arise that with these concerns and anxiety about immigration enforcement. But I think one thing was very telling. At our first forum in Salinas, it was the largest town hall or forum Monterey County has ever had, with over 800 people in attendance. Greenfield had about 350, and then Pajaro had 225. We're hoping to get a good turnout tonight as well. But even beyond the in-person attendance, I just looked back last night at our Facebook televised, because all these forums are televised on Monterey County's YouTube page and our Facebook page. But the Salinas Facebook recording had over 20,000 visits, views already. Greenfield had 12,000 and Pajaro had 8,000. So we're reaching tens of thousands more people who, if they couldn't attend in person, they're being able to watch from home or on their phone, or watch after the fact to get the right information. And I think what Adriana just mentioned, we also have had over 200 one-on-one consultations with volunteer attorneys. And many of our residents, they want to be able to ask their questions confidentially to an expert in immigration law. And that has been a really exciting thing for a lot of our residents to be able to get and not have to pay out of their pocket.
And Adriana, you mentioned that people want to live their own life, and you're encouraging them to live their life and not live in fear. Do you think that's happening? Do you think people are able to move forward, go to work, take their children to school, and just put concerns aside for now?
At the very beginning, they weren't doing that. There was a lot of fear, so they weren't having the kids to school at the very beginning. Now, because they're getting more information, they have the red card, especially also because law enforcement agencies have been part of these events. So they're talking to people and letting them know, we are not here to arrest you, to deport you. We are not immigration officers. So we are your friends. We want to help you. You need to report crimes. So the sense of normality is coming because the information is clear, it's objective, and is getting to the right people.
And speaking of red cards, you've got a red card right in front of you, Supervisor Alejo, and I was hoping you might talk about that.
I think our communication team of Monterey County have done an amazing job. Monterey County has now distributed through our partners or directly through our supervisor office or our different county departments. We have distributed over 100,000 red cards. This has critical information in Spanish and English. But what we just added on here, because many of our indigenous residents, whether they speak Mixteco or Zapotec or Triqui, they don't have a written form of their language. But our communications team had put on videos, which is basically a 30-second version of this red card on audio, where if they go to this bar, they're able to also get the information to know about their rights as well. So for me, I think we're the county who has distributed more than any other county in California at this point in time. And we have a robust webpage with a lot of resources on there as well. So I think I've been proud to see of these efforts, and this has been crucial for a lot of families to have this and be able to put in their wallet or in their purse, that if it gives a peace of mind that if they're ever stopped, it has the instruction of what to do in those situations.
Well, and that's what I wanted you to talk, because the red card has been really well received. It's not telling people, it's kind of telling them what not to do, but what to do. And we're not going against the laws that we have in the country, but it's advising them how to work within the laws that we have.
Yes, I think, first of all, like many people were concerned, right, that if law enforcement doesn't have a search warrant, they cannot enter into somebody's home. It's like any other law enforcement agency. But sometimes when people get nervous, they think they have to open their door. Some simple things could really prevent a situation from getting worse in their neighborhood. And so I think having that information has been crucial, but it's been a concern not only for our residents, our immigrant residents, but even our businesses. And I ask for resources on our webpage so they know what to do if immigration or ICE ever showed up on their business door as well. So this has been a concern for both our residents and our businesses alike.
So, and thank you, and Adriana, thank you.
Just one thing, Maya.
Yes,
Adriana,
please.
because this forum is unique. It's the only county that is doing a multi-agency event. We have people from the Mexican consulate, we have health department, we have churches, we have law enforcement. So a lot of agencies are coming together with the same message. So they haven't heard the same thing in other cities in the Central Coast. So this is very unique. I'm just telling you.
And we were very intentional to have law enforcement because I think their message is very powerful to the community, that they're to serve and protect them as well, regardless of their immigration status. So we had Sheriff Tina Nieto in Salinas, we had Chief Mixer, the Greenfield Police Chief there, and then we had Guatemala Police Chief Jorge Zamora, an immigrant himself, who gave a really great message in Pajaro. And tonight we have Chief Borges, who Seaside Police Chief, who will be joining us as well. We thought that message was crucial to have at each of our forums, and has been well received by the community.
Thank you both for talking about the forum, and then again, thanks for making it happen, because it has really been tremendous. And for those who, they can go in person at Seaside High School Gym.
Yes.
If they want to watch online, they can watch right here on Facebook or YouTube. But the most important thing is just get the information that you need. You can go to the forum, you can watch the forum, or you can go to montereycounty.gov. Right on the homepage, there's a link to Know Your Rights resource page that you can access the videos. There's lots of information there that people can print or download just to have for their own use. Well, there you go. And I see my colleague Nick has brought that up. And so there are some of the videos.
Yes, indigenous videos
that we were talking about that are there. There's just a lot there for everyone. And again, thank you for taking time. I know both of your schedules are really busy, but we're really excited that this happened, and we're kind of sorry to see the series end, but
yes. But one last
Really
thing, I would
great.
say I'm really proud of the collaboration we see happening in Monterey County, and it's been inspiring, and our community is glad to see that their county and many community partners are there to support them during this time of need.
thank you very much. And Adriana, thank you, and we'll see you on the
Thank
news
you.
a little bit later.
Thank you,
Okay,
Adriana.
thank
Adriana.
you. Okay, thank you.
And thank you, Univision.
Thank you.
All right, and now moving on to our next topic. Streetlights, curbs, and crosswalk improvements are coming to the community of Pajaro, projects that are funded by state recovery dollars. Residents are going to start seeing some of this work happen in the next couple of weeks, and our Chief of Public Works, Enrique Saavedra, is here to talk about what's ahead. Hi, Enrique.
Good afternoon, Maya. And again, I'm here happy to talk about the upcoming projects we have in Pajaro. I do have some slides to share with the group here to help me illustrate the project. So I'll share my screen here.
That's great.
So hopefully you can see my screen now. And so
Yes.
there's a couple projects we got coming up in Pajaro this summer and spill into the fall. And these projects were developed with the help of the community and trying to identify what was needed out there and how we can best use these funds. One of the projects that the community wanted us to focus on was bringing more streetlights. These are streetlights to illuminate the streets at night. And what I have here on the screen is we're going to put out about 24 new streetlights, and we selected these locations, these lights, based on where we thought they were needed based on the illumination at night. Now, here's a map of Pajaro, and just to orientate ourselves here, the city of Watsonville is up here on the upper left-hand corner, and here's San Juan Road, and then up and down the page is Salinas Road, and at the bottom is Railroad Avenue, and the yellow circles indicate where we're proposing to add new streetlights. Now, there's already streetlights out there in Pajaro in some locations, but the residents, and we've determined also that there's not enough lighting. So with this project, we're looking to add some lighting, and the lights will look something like this. There'll be solar power lights. They'll be installed in the sidewalk area and shine down on the street and the sidewalk for pedestrians and vehicles to better guide them at night. To install these lights, we're working with a local contractor, Pappage Construction. The work is scheduled to start actually as early as next week. So we're pretty excited about this and look forward to seeing these lights getting installed. The work will end around July, so just about in the middle of the summer, and at a cost estimate of about $500,000. The other project we have in Pajaro is we're adding some new curb ramps. These are the ramps that you see out there in some communities to allow pedestrians to either wheelchairs or bicycles or strollers to better access the sidewalks. And there's some areas in Pajaro that don't have these curb ramps, and we're looking to add new ones, and where there are none, and also where they're either not to current standard, removing them and putting them to current standard. And so these red circles here are where they're going to be installed. Again, this is Salinas Road up and down the page, and San Juan Road across the top. And so they kind of scatter throughout the town of Pajaro. So again, another improvement that people will see out there, so it can better make the community more walkable and more enjoyable to walk out there. The other concern we heard from folks was about pedestrian safety and what we can do to improve the pedestrian safety, both for the regular residents and also for the school kids. There's a middle school or in the middle of town. And so to do that, we're proposing to add a couple of things with this project as well. We're looking to add some, first of all, these squares here and down on Railroad and in Lewis. These are called radar speed signs. These are signs that show the speed limit of the street, and it also flashes the speed that you are traveling at. So you as a motorist are traveling at. So it helps drivers gauge their speed and better, conform to the speed limit. We're also looking to add improve the intersection at Salinas Road and San Juan here with that yellow circle. As most of you know, San Juan Road is a really wide street, and so it makes crossing of it really difficult. So we're looking to add some features at the corner there of San Juan and Salinas Road to make it more accessible for pedestrians and easier to cross. We're looking to add some rectangular flashing beacons. These are lights that would flash once they're actuated or pedestrian pushes on a button, and the lights will start flashing. So it alerts the drivers there's a pedestrian in the crosswalk. So we're looking, that will definitely be something as a safety measure added to this area of Pajaro. We're also looking to upgrade the existing traffic signals both at Porter and San Juan and right across the middle school. Looking to improve the signal heads so they're more visible. We're also looking to improve how pedestrians push the buttons so they're better buttons, and include some audible sounds for the hearing impaired to be able to cross the street safely. We're also adding some, actually enhancing the existing school zone beacons. These are beacons on Salinas Road, right by the middle school here, these green squares, that will alert drivers of the school zone. Again, a lot of kids walk to school. We want to encourage kids to walk to school. It's a healthy way to get to school, and we got to make it safe for them. So we're adding these flashing beacons to alert drivers that they're entering a school zone for the kids' safety. And just to illustrate some of the things I mentioned or give you a picture, this is what I'm talking about. This is the speed radar feedback sign. So this is the speed limit, for example, and then we'll say what your speed is as a driver. These are right here in the lower left-hand corner is the rectangular rapid flashing beacons. So a pedestrian comes to this crosswalk, pushes a button, and the lights start flashing yellow. So again, we're pretty excited about these projects. Again, they'll start with the streetlights starting next week, and then we'll move into the curb ramps, and then followed by the signal upgrades and the flashing lights and beacons. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. And stop share. So Maya, this is kind of what I wanted to show the folks, and I'm available to answer any questions they may be from the group or from yourself.
Enrique, thanks so much. This is really exciting for the community. One thing people have always asked us about these recovery funds was, what are we going to do with some of these recovery funds? And some of them were dedicated to improving the infrastructure in the community. And this is one of those areas that you got a lot of community input on. This, putting this all together, you just didn't go into an office and think about what you wanted to put there. This came out of community meetings. And I think that's really important to remind the community about, was that they got to decide what to do with some of this money.
That's exactly correct. So we had a number of workshops with the community. Our Department of Emergency Management held a number of meetings in Pajaro, and we went. I was there for a number of them, and we met with the community. We talked about what their needs were in terms of infrastructure, and this is what they recommended that we look into and what we use our funds for. So we're pretty excited to now be able to show them that we took their input and now we're developing a project and looking to implement that project now.
Really exciting. And thank you so much for kind of coming on quickly to talk about this. We've been kind of waiting for when the green light was going to happen with the project, and here it is. So we look forward to seeing all those going up, and then an evening lighting for some of those street lights, and enjoy a walk around town.
Yep.
Thank you, Enrique, very much. And if there are any questions for Enrique, nothing came in additional, but if you have any additional questions, anyone who is watching, go ahead and feel free and forward those questions to me, and I'll get those answered for you.
Well, again, thank you for the opportunity to showcase our project. And hopefully, like I said, at the end, we'll be able to do a ribbon cutting or something for them.
We'll work on something. Thank you, Enrique. And now our final topic today, final but not least, a very special ceremony is coming together next week for 6 local veterans who are being interred at the Central Coast Veterans Cemetery. These veterans were homeless, but they are getting the honors that they rightfully deserve. And we're very pleased to have Jack Murphy, he's the director of our County of Monterey Military and Veterans Affairs Office, to talk about this and how it all came together. Hi, Jack.
Thank you, Maya, and hello, everyone. Jack Murphy. I'm the County Veteran Service Officer and the Director of the Military and Veterans Affairs Office. Yeah, I want to take an opportunity just to share, as Maya mentioned, an event that we've got coming up. It's scheduled for Tuesday, the 25th of March at 2 o'clock at the Central Coast Veterans Cemetery. And this all stems from a change to the federal VA's eligibility on who can be interred in veterans cemeteries. In the past, it had to be a service-connected veteran. It had to be an individual who served honorably, but it excluded indigent and homeless veterans and veterans whose remains were not claimed. So up until about 2 years ago, it was pretty difficult to provide the entitlement and, more importantly, the honor, the dignity and the respect to these veterans who served our nation, sacrificed, and passed away in what couldn't be characterized anything other than an unfortunate condition where you either are homeless, you don't have the means to be properly remembered, or you just don't have next of kin. And that's sort of the situation that we find ourselves in right now. I will share my screen and provide a little bit more background here briefly. Are we sharing the right screen? Yes, there we go. I think so. Can you see that, May? Okay, the interment ceremony?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so this is sort of the summary of what we're doing. Again, it's March 25th, which is this Tuesday. We've got 6 Monterey County veterans whose remains were unclaimed. I'll be clear, 2 of them were homeless at the time of their death. One of them had some means, but no next of kin. And honestly, because of the poor or the lack of records that we're able to ascertain on the other veterans, it's kind of unclear. But what I can say is, in a very good collaborative partnership with the Monterey County Sheriff Coroner's Office, we've been able to get the word out to the proper organizations and authorities that this benefit does now exist in order to take select veterans who are eligible under this new VA policy and bury them or inter them appropriately with honors, with the involvement of the veteran community here at the Central Coast Veterans Cemetery in Seaside. So the 6 veterans, U.S. Army veteran Andrew Brosowski, Air Force veteran John McConnell, Army veteran Jeffrey Graham, Navy veteran David Schaefer, Army veteran Ralph Huck, who I knew personally, and then also Army veteran Richard Wilkerson, who I also knew when he was formerly a resident at the Veterans Transition Center. They're listed in the order of their deaths, starting with earliest to most recent. And again, the ceremony with military honors, it will be at 2 o'clock at the Central Coast Veterans Cemetery. It'll be at the committal shelter. So as you enter the cemetery, turn left, go to the top of the hill. These 6 veterans will be interned in the columbaria shortly after the ceremony. And it'll be a pretty brief ceremony. I do want to provide some recognition to some other organizations that have been helping us put this together. First and foremost, to Fernando Pimentel and his staff at the Central Coast Veterans Cemetery. They've been very flexible in trying to accommodate such a large internment. Normally, they'll do 3 a day, 2 in the morning and 1 in the afternoon, but now we're doing 6 at once. And that's really to provide this service to them in the most expeditious and respectful and dignified way we can. Secondly, Sergeant James Day and his entire team at the Monterey County Sheriff Coroner's Office. This is not the first time that we've done this. I think now we're probably going to be sitting around 10 or 12 veterans who the remains were either unclaimed or they were homeless, they had no next of kin, or as I mentioned earlier, they might have had just lack of resources, a combination thereof. This is the first time we've done more than 1 veteran at once. So we went from couple here, couple there. We had a husband and wife that we interred the same way. That was a unique situation. But this is the first one where we've got multiple veterans at once. They're being recognized by the U.S. Army Color Guard out of the Presidio of Monterey. And then kind of a local special touch. We've got a joint honor guard between VFW Post 6849 out of Spreckles and American Legion Post 31 out of Salinas. Their commander, John Pinedo, is organizing that. And then another special touch that really, it's very touching, but Joe Heston, former TV personality, is now a member of Bugles Across America, and he'll be playing a real bugle call, playing taps to honor those 6 veterans. And then we've also got a number of organizations from the veteran community, specifically the Legion Riders and the United Veterans Council, our local American Legion posts and VFW posts. We should have a pretty good turnout. And again, this will all take place at 2 o'clock on Tuesday, the 23rd. And again, here's the information on the who, what, when, where, and also the why, and subject to any questions or comments.
Jack, thank you so much for sharing this with us. For someone who may not be in the military or be connected to the military, they might wonder why these gentlemen could not be interred appropriately, because in our hearts, we just feel that that's appropriate, but there are just rules that we may not understand. I wonder what it took to get this change so that these gentlemen could get the honors they really deserve.
Well, it's because it's the right thing to do. But different things, and I did some research on these veterans. They all had different experiences. They're all older gentlemen between 60 and 81 years old. We've got a Desert Storm combat veteran. We've got a Vietnam combat veteran, a couple of peacetime veterans who just, for whatever reason, you either fall into hard times, or what I've seen in the past is the veteran outlives his relatives. In the case of the one veteran who I knew personally, it was in his last will and testament that he was going to give his car and all of his worldly possessions to his in-home care provider, and that was it. So he had the means, he just didn't have the family. The situation as to why someone ends up, either passing away in a medical facility or at home, and then because no one comes to claim the remains, they have to by law go to the county coroner's office, and then that starts a whole other process of trying to determine, you know, nearest contacts, next of kin. Our office has helped veterans who, well, not really the veterans, but helped friends of the veterans. There's no family, and the veterans don't have, I mean, the friends don't have a legal right. So we kind of work as an intermediary to get the veteran to be buried or interred at the veterans cemetery on behalf of the friends. So we've just kind of done whatever we can, both at the county level and the state level, to try to honor these veterans, recognize them for their service, recognize them for their sacrifice. You know, some of these veterans had lasting disabilities, lasting injuries, both physical, mental, and otherwise. So, you know, service takes its toll, and you know, this is the least that we can do to honor, to remember, and to show the community that veterans are still important.
And it's a great way to celebrate their service as well. And so great to see all these people kind of coming together for people that maybe they didn't know them, but they felt that what they had done in their service really was valuable.
Yes.
Thank you so much for sharing the story about this. And we look forward to a really great event next week. I know it'll be very moving.
Thank you. I hope to see everyone there.
All right. Thank you, Jack. And thanks everyone for joining us on the news briefing this week. Our next briefing is next week. We'll see you then.